When Shedeur does anything, it's always critique. What I don't like is you may not be able to relate to what he's doing or how he's doing it, but you can't control and make it be what you want it to be, because it's not that. A person not be a starter, not be second string, third string
QB,
a 5th round pick, have this much.
Shedeur Sanders is being put in a position where he has to control the narrative around him, and it's sparking some serious debate. The most recent voice to weigh in on this controversy? None other than Cam Newton. For those who've been following, Cam has been one of Shedeur's harshest critics, especially after his fall in the draft. But now, he's changing his stance. Cam is speaking out, claiming that Shedeur is being treated unfairly, and he's not wrong to question the treatment he's receiving. According to Newton, what's happening here is unprecedented. Shedeur is the first 5th-round third-string quarterback in NFL history to see this kind of outpouring of support from fans. And that, Newton argues, is exactly why there's so much scrutiny on him. He believes that NFL owners and the league itself aren't happy with the fact that fans are rallying behind Shedeur the way they are, and they're trying to suppress that momentum. The question is, why? What's really behind all this criticism? And what does it mean for the future of Shedeur Sanders in the NFL?
It's not even about, before we get to the point, we have to understand what the reality is.
Yeah.
When Shedeur does anything, it's always critique.
Cam Newton went on to say that whenever Shedeur Sanders does anything, no matter how right or justified it may be, there's always a level of critique that feels over the top. According to Newton, it's not just the typical analysis or critique you'd expect for a rookie or a young quarterback. It's something more. He points out that the criticism goes all out, targeting Shedeur in ways that nobody really expects or would normally see. Even when Shedeur does things that seem like a step in the right direction, the attacks come at him harder than they would for any other player. And Newton is calling it for what it is. There's an agenda being pushed against him. And Cam Newton is absolutely right about this, because when Dillon Gabriel, a fellow quarterback, took shots at Shedeur Sanders during the preseason, the media didn't come down on him the way they've come down on Shedeur. Dillon Gabriel trash-talked Shedeur in a very public way, but there was no major backlash. In fact, the criticism was practically non-existent. Nobody was calling out Gabriel, questioning his motives, or making it into a bigger story. So why the double standard? Why does it feel like Shedeur is constantly in the spotlight, facing scrutiny no matter what he does, while others like Gabriel seem to get a pass for similar behavior? Let's have a look on what Dillon said.
I'm focused on doing. It's just part of it. You know, there's entertainers and there's competitors, and I totally understand that, and my job is to compete, and that's what I'm focused on doing.
It was pretty clear that Dillon Gabriel was directly criticizing Shedeur Sanders, calling him more of an entertainer than a football player. But when the media caught wind of it, there was a sudden shift in narrative. People jumped to Gabriel's defense, insisting that he didn't actually mean what he said. Colin Cowherd, for example, went on air claiming that Gabriel wasn't taking a shot at Shedeur at all. He was supposedly targeting the media, not Shedeur personally. It's a strange defense to make considering the clear jab at Shedeur, but the narrative quickly changed, and suddenly Gabriel's words were being downplayed as an attack on the media rather than on Shedeur himself.
That was not a shot at Shedeur Sanders. Shame on everybody that said it was. Do not. You're hurting Shedeur. You're turning a non-circus into a circus. When he said that, he was taking a shot at us.
Recently, Shedeur Sanders made a bold declaration, saying that he believes he's better than some of the quarterbacks currently playing in the NFL. And as you can imagine, that didn't sit well with a lot of people. The backlash was swift, with critics coming out in full force, lashing out at him for having the audacity to make such a statement. But here's the thing. Shedeur wasn't just talking about himself in a boastful way. He's made it clear that, while he's been patient and worked hard to get where he is, there's also a growing sense of frustration. He feels like he's earned the right to be a starting quarterback in the league, and yet he's still being held back.
Enjoy my moments, but overall, this isn't my end goal. You know, like, I'm just enjoying myself, learning, doing everything I have to do, and just ready for my opportunity.
Rex Ryan, known for his outspoken nature, really put himself in the spotlight by going directly at Shedeur. In a recent interview, he made a series of bold claims, asserting that Shedeur isn't working hard enough to earn a spot in the starting quarterback conversation.
What really stood out, though, was the way Rex delivered this message. It wasn't in a friendly or constructive tone, it was sharp, almost intimidating, and it seemed designed to provoke. This wasn't just a casual critique, it was a full-on attack. And of course, this stirred up even more controversy, adding more fuel to the already heated fire surrounding Shedeur. And this situation highlights just how the media operates with a dual-faced policy when it comes to Shedeur Sanders. It seems clear that there's a concerted effort to undermine his success at every turn. Cam Newton jumped into the conversation, expressing his frustration with the way Shedeur is being treated. He went on to say that, based on everything happening, Shedeur is being mistreated simply because of who he is and how his father, Deion Sanders, raised him. Cam pointed out that Shedeur's confidence and pride in his pedigree, his upbringing, his family, and the way he's been taught to carry himself should be something to be proud of. But instead, the NFL seems to resent it, and the way they're handling Shedeur's rise feels like they're intentionally trying to pull him down. This isn't just about football, it's about the system trying to knock down a player who refuses to fit into the mold they expect him to.
You should be embarrassed that you're not the quarterback now.
And then also, just with his attitude per se, or his frustrations, after Joe Flacco was pulled out the game and Dillon Gabriel was inserted into the game. And so, as we all know, the story of Shedeur, supposed to be first rounder, went fifth rounder, and it's been a lot of up and downs about who should be the starting quarterback.
In conclusion, it's clear that Shedeur Sanders is facing unfair treatment, both from the media and the NFL organizations who seem intent on pulling him down. From the constant criticism to the attempts to undermine his success, it feels as though there's a concerted effort to keep him from reaching his full potential. The way he's been scrutinized, often for things that other quarterbacks get a pass on, shows just how differently he's being treated. The media's double standard is glaring, especially when you look at how players like Dillon Gabriel and others have taken shots at Shedeur. When Gabriel criticized Shedeur, calling him an entertainer rather than a player, the media quickly rushed to defend him, claiming he wasn't attacking Shedeur at all. But when Shedeur speaks out, even with valid points about his own growth and ambitions, he's met with harsh criticism. The media clearly has its own agenda when it comes to Shedeur, and it's not in his favor. What makes this situation even more telling is the shift in stance from Cam Newton. As one of Shedeur's harshest critics, Newton has now publicly admitted that there's something off about the way Shedeur is being treated. If someone like Cam, who was outspoken against Shedeur, now recognizes the injustice, then there's definitely something more going on behind the scenes. So, as fans of Shedeur Sanders, it's up to us to continue supporting him, amplifying his name, and ensuring that the narrative doesn't get twisted. The more we stand by Shedeur, the harder it will be for the media and the league to mess with our guy. We have to keep pushing for him to get the respect and opportunities he deserves. Let's not let them silence him. What do you all think about the way Shedeur Sanders is being treated by the media and the NFL? Do you agree that there's a double standard when it comes to the way he's criticized compared to other players like Dillon Gabriel? And with Cam Newton, once one of his biggest critics, now acknowledging the unfair treatment, what does that say about the situation? How can we, as fans, continue to support Shedeur and make sure his voice isn't silenced? Let me know your thoughts in the comments.